Yeah, if you want.
Okay, cool. I am an incoming senior at Doherty, and I am the president of our GSA. My pronouns are he, him. I'm gay. I guess that's it.
And now Laurie.
I'm Larissa Chan. I'm an incoming senior at Doherty Valley. I do nothing and all pronouns.
And Ruth Vic.
Oh, my name's Ritwik Raju. I'm going to be an incoming senior at Doherty Valley High School too. And I don't really do anything either. And I'm bi.
Nice.
Yeah.
So basically, I want this more to be like a conversation, so don't feel like you have to answer every single question. More like the questions are like going to guide what we're going to talk about, and you guys can like build off each other's answers. So my first question, this is more, but it's like, how did your journey of accepting your identity impact your mental health, or like anything related to that? So any of you can start.
So just speaking from like personal experience, I feel like there's a lot of stigma revolving around the LGBTQ community and its correlation with mental health and mental illness, because a lot of statistically, a lot of LGBTQ youth are known to have higher rates of depression, anxiety, and by association, suicidal tendencies. But I feel like from my personal experience, I have felt that a large source of the stress that I face coming with in association with being gay is more a derivative of social stigma against LGBTQ people, instead of actually some inherent tie between my identity and what I experience emotionally. So I feel like a lot of what I have struggled with was more fearing what other people thought of me, or what my family would do to me if I were to come out. And so the road to acceptance was more about like figuring out how to integrate my identity with my social circles, and that was the part that brought upon like more emotional stress than actually being gay.
Mm-hmm.
Would anyone like to build off of that?
Yeah, I agree, but for like my personal experience, like just like the anxiety and like my anxiety and my mental like health issues like started because of like not coming to terms with it. So like being able to like come to terms with it and telling people like who I was and not really caring about it just helped my mental health, like, and anxiety overall.
I think for me, the biggest struggle was the fact that I accepted myself pretty quickly, which I'm really fortunate about, but it was telling everyone around me what I was, and like pronouns and sexuality and stuff like that. People like kind of judged me for it, but besides that, I was fine, which I'm lucky.
Thank you, guys. And our next question is, what are some common misconceptions and stereotypes that people have about the LGBTQ community that can be harmful to your mental health?
Like I mentioned before, there's I think this is more perpetuated within like adult circles, but there's a correlation between mental health issues and LGBTQ youth. I think that's more derivative of, or like that comes from the inherent like struggles that LGBTQ youth face, because you're not homeless because you're trans, but you're homeless because your family thinks that you don't deserve to be their child because you're trans. So there's a lot of issues that are tied to the LGBTQ community that adults think are inherent struggles we go through because of our identity, but it's more because of their response to our identity than it is actually like, you're not automatically depressed if you're gay. You're depressed if your family hates you because you're gay.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's something that my parents kind of struggle to understand, where it's, if they were to be accepting and open and supportive of my identity, and I'm assuming a lot of parents, if they were to be open and supportive of their children, their children would face a lot less struggle coming to terms with their own identity and coming into themselves than if they were to be very abusive and harmful.
That's very well said.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay, so I guess our next question is like, statistics show that members of the LGBTQ plus community are more likely to experience mental illnesses or disorders, like you said before. But do you want to like elaborate on exactly why you feel like these mental health issues are so like statistically high for others compared to like other communities and things like that?
If you think you've said everything that like relates to this question, we can just move on to the next one. Just let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's mostly it. I feel like every identity comes with inherent struggles based on off of like circumstances. So like for LGBTQ youth especially, like you're dependent on your parents, but your parents might not always be accepting. So the struggles that come with that, and bullying in schools, and potentially hostile churches or schools or workplaces could bring upon a specific set of struggles that is more harmful to your mental health than others.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also, there's a distinction between that, like depression, anxiety, and gender dysphoria, which I believe is classified as a mental illness, not being transgender, but feeling, hating your body. So like body dysphoria is a separate discussion than depression, anxiety, and the typical mental illnesses that aren't intrinsically tied to LGBTQ identities.
Okay, yeah, these responses have been great, and sort of like segueing to the next question, it's sort of like a culmination of like previous questions. What impact do the attitudes from friends and family have on you specifically? And anyone.
Wait, could you repeat the question? Sorry.
What impact did the attitudes from friends and family have on you?
I don't want to speak for everyone, so I'll wait.
Well, for me, the impacts that like friends and family like had on me were good. I can't really say that like nobody said like anything bad and stuff. So it was like
Same.
pretty much like, yeah.
No one said anything bad, but I came out in middle school, so people joked about it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if I came out later or with more accepting people, it would have been better, but I never got negative responses, more just like, I came out as pansexual in middle school, so be like, haha, you like pans, that stuff. I think freshman year I started using they them pronouns. People started like, oh really, why? And like people wouldn't use them, which I was fine with, but still like it was iffy, but nothing was extremely negative because we're fortunate enough to be in a pretty much accepting city. So
Do you feel like in terms of education or what we learned in school, like that kind of helped in the idea of acceptance and things like that?
what we're taught in school.
I feel like our school definitely isn't the best with LGBTQ education, and this is something that GSA hopes to work to change. We were hoping to get more LGBTQ inclusive curriculum put into the health classes that all freshmen have, because that is one of the only times that you learn about other people and social roles and stuff. But that's been mostly a bust because the health. That's a big other conversation. But I feel like our community is definitely more accepting of LGBTQ people as a whole because of just what is socially accepted. Our community is more like politically left, so a lot of people are generally, if they don't accept you, they won't speak up. I feel like there's definitely a tie between LGBTQ youth facing more mental issues when they have more oppressive conservative communities in the LGBTQ sense. So I hope that our community is open enough for people to feel safe to come out when they wish to. So.
And then other than education, are there any other ways that you guys think like that society can improve regarding this, like policy wise and otherwise?
Policy. Well, I think as much as there is still work to be done in America, it's a lot of like the policies that matter the most are like you are protected as an LGBTQ individual in the workplace, in renting, you're able to get married, stuff like that. In most states, LGBTQ individuals already have, and that's, when it comes down to it, what matters most, because if you can't have a job and you can't have a steady income, that's detrimental to your well-being. But obviously, if we don't have education, we breed like a more hostile environment, and then people grow up without learning all these things about how to be respectful to people with different pronouns, or how to, I don't know, just learning basic empathy. So if we don't educate people when they're young, then they grow up with these preconceived prejudices, and then yeah.
For sure. Also, like the pronoun thing, like I personally didn't know much about it until end of middle school and high school. Another thing, I feel like it's been really normalized for people to like express their distaste for something and say, oh, that's so gay. Like people haven't really been educated on what not to say and what to say. So I definitely think education from like an early age, just like you said, middle school, people were like not like, maybe not in a negative way, but people were joking because they didn't really understand like the brevity of everything. So
yeah, and I liked how you brought up like empathy, because that plays a big role in what Sammy's saying too, right?
Yeah.
Does anyone else want to add on to that, or should we just go on to the next question?
Go on.
I was like, no, never.
So do you have any advice for people to help embrace their identity?
This is just, I'm obligated to say this because it's GSA, but if you're in Doherty and you have any questions or concerns about coming out and coming into your sexuality, you can DM the Doherty High GSA Instagram page. But within our, I'm assuming this is within our like Centermont community, right? Within our community, there's various resources for people, young LGBTQ kids that are coming out. One is Rainbow Community Center. It's based in Walnut Creek, and they have a lot of resources. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with COVID right now, but they do have a website that you can access. Another option, if you're more concerned about the parent, getting your parents' help, because a lot of parents like experience a different set of emotions when their children comes out to them. So PFLAG, I believe in Pleasanton or Danville, PFLAG, which is the Parents of Lesbians and Gays. That's a really good organization for your parents to get a hold of if they want more resources about how to be more supportive or more accepting towards you. I know that when I came out, my parents definitely took advantage of that, because I don't know, apparently it's a grieving process for parents, which I hope that it isn't the case for most parents. But yeah, and then also taking advantage of your social circles. If you surround yourself with friends that are accepting of you, and not just because you came out to them, but accepting overall of LGBTQ people, so you know that you're safe with them. I think having a strong support network is very important.
And we can add the links for the organizations that you said in the box underneath the channel.
Yeah, I'll DM them to Akash, I guess.
So another thing, this is really, really important. So can you explain what it exactly means to be an LGBTQ plus ally? Because I feel like a lot of people don't have the proper definition.
Okay, I guess I'll do it. So this is an anecdote. When I first came out, I was more relaxed about people respecting my identity, which is if you need to do that to survive, like if you're trans and you're saying like, oh, you don't have to refer to me with the right pronouns all the time because it makes you uncomfortable, and if you're uncomfortable, you might be violent. That's a separate thing versus I'm allowing you to disrespect me because you say, oh, I tolerate you, but I don't accept you. So that was a big distinction that I noticed between a lot of people. They were very uncomfortable saying, I support you, but they're saying like, I'll tolerate you and I'll accept you. So I feel like to be a true LGBTQ ally, you have to be advocating for both people in your circle to experience the best life that they can have by, if you have a trans friend, using the correct pronouns, correcting other people when they have use the wrong pronouns, actively standing up against discriminatory actions, whether it's from people of authority or from fellow peers within your circles. And then also to support more systematic changes and educate yourself on like the restroom policies that the current administration is passing, and educating yourself about what it means to exist as an LGBTQ person in America or the world. So just holistically being supportive of the community, both in person and on a wider scale, is very important if you want to be a true ally. It's not just, oh, I won't attack you, so therefore I'm like a perfect morally detached person from this issue.
Anything else you guys want to add? I feel like you said that really well.
Yeah.
Caleb's got this. He's good.
Very well spoken.
I do kind of spend my time talking about this at GSA, so I have a lot of.
Well, those are all the questions we have. So if no one else has anything to say, thank you guys for coming and sharing your experiences and being thoughtful. And I hope you guys have a nice day.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Okay.
Thank you.
I didn't in my socks, running from a up, and I shoot that up.